What's going on YouTube? This is Hero Stormwolf, and today we're going to be checking out PlayStation Now. I've made a previous video about it, kind of giving some of the details that will be at launch. So far, you have 104 titles to try out, all PS3 games so far. In the future, they want to add PS2 and PS1, so that's actually going to be something that's interesting. I told you about the pricing and things like that. So I'm using the 7-day free trial that you get when you first boot it up. So just going down a quick list of some of the titles, you have Batman Arkham City, Street Fighter 4, Arcade Edition, XCOM, Enemy Within, Drake's Uncharted, Infamous, Resident Evil, Dead or Alive 5, God of War Ascension, the Sly Collection, which is Sly Cooper 1, 2, and 3, Darksiders, Chronoplasm, which I think is the latest version of this game, but correct me if I'm wrong on that. Saints Row, I believe that's Saints Row the third, the full package, Saints Row 2, the original Darksiders, so on and so forth. So there's some interesting games on here. Most of these you've probably already played, but there are a few good ones. There are some very old ones on here too. So it's not much yet in terms of PS3 games. There are a few hidden gems here, but going off the list of games alone, I'm not necessarily sure if you want to drop down $20 or $45 for a rental service as of yet. I would say probably wait a little bit more. But regardless, we're going to be trying out a couple of games here. I'm just going to have them already pre-recorded, and then I'll go over exactly how the game played, over the gameplay, and if it's worth playing over PlayStation Now. Okay, so the first game I tried to stream was Uncharted, the very first one. And for the most part, it played okay. Issues I had, I don't know if this is going to be prevalent for everyone, was things like screen tearing and resolution issues, as well as whenever you move the camera, the picture on the screen, like the image quality, would drastically decrease. I'm talking, it would look pixelated and horrible. And that's whenever you try and turn the camera, try and either switch enemies or make a precise jump or something. If you do it too quickly, the screen would mess up, and I'm talking about like it'd be all blurry and the resolution would go down. And I suppose that's a trade-off when you're trying to stream a game. You're not going to have, you know, that steady resolution, because I believe these games only stream up to 720p 30 frames per second, I believe, even fighting games, I think. So you'll notice it kind of at the beginning and kind of in these wooded areas. This is all the first level. I streamed about maybe an hour or so to kind of get a feel of it, but the controls actually worked out fine. Whatever button I pressed, it responded just like that. Like if I press X for Drake to jump, he would jump. If I pressed L1 button to aim, R1 to shoot, he would do it on the screen. There was no real delay on it. So in terms of that, that's fine. I expected the visual downgrade, so again, this game seemed to run okay. I didn't really have any issues other than like visual issues, and again, I expected that, seeing that this is a streaming service. So all in all, it ran okay. It played okay. I probably wouldn't have any real trouble playing this game from start to finish. So the next game I decided to try and stream was God of War Ascension. One, because I never actually played it before, and two, this game, it's interesting because there's a lot of stuff that can happen on screen. As you saw at the very beginning, this game does have frame rate issues while streaming it. Again, it's kind of sort of to be expected, but this is all just a general test to see how things work with different types of games, which is one, I picked kind of a slower action type, one I picked a fast button masher, such as, or not button masher, but you know what I mean. God of War, like an action type game, to where it's heavily reliant on combat and stuff. So, as you see there at the beginning, that it has frame rate issues if there's like a shit ton of things going on. Unfortunately, I didn't record the boss fight at the end of this, but during the boss fight, it does get choppy. So, God of War, again, button input seemed to work fine. Whenever I pressed the button, it would respond. Whenever I jump, whenever I press the attack button, he would do the buttons whenever I dodge, etc., etc. So, it seems that input delay isn't as much of a factor as it is the visual quality and frame rate issues. Those are going to be the two main factors that I've noticed while streaming these games, is that whenever I see something, or like not when I see something, but whenever you're streaming it or trying to stream it, you'll notice that the quality, it might not look like it on the recording, because again, recording's different from actually streaming, but you'll notice it when you're playing. You'll notice how it gets pixelated, it gets kind of grainy, but the gameplay isn't really affected in terms of combat, in terms of button pressing instead of response time. I didn't have any issues. Now that may differ between users depending on your internet connection, but of course I have a pretty stable internet connection, so I'm basing that off like someone who has a decent stable internet connection, not someone who has like Comcast or something where that shit drops horrendously like almost every day. But regardless, I'm rambling now. What I'm trying to say here is that God of War Ascension, from what I've played, seems to work fine. Other than, again, visual and some frame rate issues on this one. Other than that, I didn't seem to have any issues with this game. So, the final game I decided to try out was Dead or Alive 5. And this was probably the best game I've played while streaming from PlayStation Now. The reason I decided to test the fighting game was to see if it would have input delay, how the lag would be while actually streaming the game, and things like that. Again, visual issues aside, such as the graining look, this game ran really well. Whenever I pressed the button, he would punch, he would kick, he would block, he would counter. Now, of course, I'm getting my ass kicked here because I haven't played this game in forever and I totally forgot all the buttons and stuff, but as I played more and more matches, I didn't have any lag issues, no input issues, stuff like that. I will say though, because PlayStation Now doesn't have add-ons and the way they consider add-ons and patches and stuff, certain games like Street Fighter won't have Ultra or won't have like Omega Edition, which blows my mind that they're even going to try and stream Street Fighter even though they're going to try and sell a copy on it anyway, but that's beside the point. That's rambling. Games like BlazBlue, King of Fighters, which don't have the DLC add-on characters, Street Fighter, which only goes up to Arcade Edition. I don't think it even goes up to Arcade Edition 2012. You're not going to find online matches for that, simply because everyone's already updated to Omega and Ultra, and so you streaming that's not going to really do you any good. And that's going to be a problem for games like this. Either shooting games, online shooting games, like they have Killzone up there. They don't have all the maps. They don't have probably the latest patch of the game, even if the servers are still online, but that's going to be a problem for online games, even though online is supported, simply because they don't have the most up-to-date versions and they don't have the add-ons and stuff. You really won't get the full experience of it, which leads me to this ending point. I would say wait to get PlayStation Now. Don't get it right now. Other than like the lack of actual titles on it, which there are a few and far between good ones. You mostly already played them or you still have them if you have your PS3. That and the service takes a while to actually get up and running. I tried multiple times to stream different games, and while I managed to stream the ones I'm recording right now, for every one game that I have recorded and showing you, there's about 5 or 6 or 7 that I've tried and it wouldn't work. No matter how many times I reset my router, no matter how many times I reset my PS4, they wouldn't stream, and that became an issue. So as of now, the service is far from stable. Even granted, it is day one, so maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh. The service is unstable as it is. There's not really too many options of games to pick from. So my advice is wait. Wait till probably you see better PS3 titles, better PS1 titles, or actual PS1 and PS2 titles. So just wait. That's my biggest thing, is to just wait until something better comes along. So that's my whole thoughts on PSN or PlayStation Now and my first impressions of it. It's good as a starting point, but there's issues and there's not enough content to warrant you paying $20 or $45 or every 3 months. So that's what I thought. If you've used it, leave your thoughts down below. Let me know how your experience has been with it. Mine has been okay, as you can see from the video, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.